I'm glad that we could chat today and get to the bottom of anything that will help you out.
Yeah, I can just jump right in since we only have 20 minutes or
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, what's the main thing going on right now that we can help with?
yeah, so let me just do you want me to like start from the beginning or
Not at the beginning. I mean, I know that you've been in the Overcome program, so you've applied some of the approaches already. And tell me a little bit about what's going on right now. Like what symptoms or what roadblock are you getting running into?
yeah, so I wrote some notes down. Let me just take a look. So yeah, I've been in the program for about 2 years and have found a lot of help from the program. And, you know, a lot of it is just understanding that it's a holistic thing that we're working with.
Hmm.
And um so a big thing for me is my spirituality as like I've been a Christian for like my whole life. And I think in the past couple of years, especially when I've been going through all of this, I kind of like let a lot of that go. And just kind of like been in this constant battle of control, like trying to control my body, control my um future, control too much.
Right.
And so lately I've just been really reflecting on giving some of that control back. And so I'm, of course I don't know what you believe, but my belief like is in the Bible, excuse me, the God of the Bible. So with that, there comes a lot of trust in that God, God of the Bible, and it has been helping me a good bit, a good bit. For example, some of the tenets are like love instead of fear. So in the Bible, the opposite of fear, um, excuse me, the opposite of love is not evil; it's fear. So it's important to trade love for fear, or excuse me, fear for love. And then on top of that, in general, God is love in the Bible. So knowing that, anytime you're praying to God, you're connecting to love. Next, just anxiety. So there's verses in the Bible about casting your anxiety onto God, giving thanksgiving, trusting God, and living in the present moment, which are all tenets that you go over in the Overcome program.
Right.
Um, so really, I found a lot of connections from what you talked about in the program to my spirituality, and just spending time in worship and praise and Thanksgiving. That's really been the best help for me, and just letting go of that control. So not that you have to believe in what I believe to experience freedom, but I think it's a really good um, way of going about it, in my opinion.
Right. All the
But
things you've said so far, I mean, and I know because I'm just remembering now that you posted in the community, and yeah, you've had a
Mhm.
lot of improvement, but you've had I don't know if you would call it a relapse or a flare up, and you're doing a lot
Mm.
of things right. So, like, when did that relapse or that flare up start?
Yeah, I noticed that it's seasonal for me for sure.
Okay.
In the summer I do experience like a lot of like freedom and relaxation. I think it's just due to how summers usually go, more vacations, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And spring is really hard for me. So I've just been experiencing a little bit of a relapse there in spring. Um,
What goes on in spring?
well, it's a great question. I've always had finals in the spring. I've always had exams. Um, I'm not really sure.
Are you still in school? Like, did you have finals and exams this spring?
I'm not still in school, but I don't know. I think my body's gotten used to it. And I used to have a lot of anxiety in the spring for many reasons, not just related to exams.
So
But
let's look at this spring though specifically. When you were feeling anxiety, I imagine you had some anxiety as the precursor, or there was stress or anxiety as the precursor to the flare up versus just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on vacation, life's so good, and then boom, it hit you. That doesn't really match a mind-body syndrome pattern. What about the anxiety or the stress that was leading up to this last relapse? Can you target what the fear was around or where it was being created?
Well, I just got married like 7 days ago, and I think just the
Yeah,
stress of get preparing for the marriage, and preparing for the wedding in general.
that's awesome. Congratulations. It's
Oh,
a
thank you, thank
really
you.
cool thing. But
Thank you.
it's a big life event though. It's a
Yeah,
big
for
life
sure. And I'll tell you what, so I've recorded in the last 2 years about 5 to 10 days of complete freedom, as in just the best I've ever felt. And let me explain to you like what led to that. Number one, I think was the meditation. So just doing what is called the body scan or the single point body scan meditation. So,
event.
for example, just focusing on something as simple as your temples or something like your jaw for about an hour led to just complete. I mean, I felt my body shaking. My body was shaking, and it was just like utter release.
Wow.
Um, and so I wonder, for me, that was like one of the best situations ever. And I was, calling my fiance and like telling her like wow, like just felt my whole body relax. That's something I haven't felt in like a year.
Yeah.
Um, and other times it's been something out of my control. So it's just me living life in love, just enjoying life. And that's when I experience ultimate freedom, right? And so that's the ultimate goal, is not to have to do these meditations or whatever. But I found like one way I could like maybe in my own mechanisms of controlling it. One of the best ways for me is just that single point meditation. Um, so like I said, nothing really else. I mean, the stretches helped, everything helped, but complete 100%. I mean, I was peeing like I was 12 again, right? And
Mm.
I've experienced urinary issues for quite a while now. But I tell you what, I went to the restroom and I felt like I was 12 again. It's
Was it
so
like right after that 1 hour meditation for the first time? Or let's say you do it every morning for a week straight, that whole week you just feel great? Or tell me a little bit about that.
right. So that's the hard part, and it's something I can't really explain to people. So I don't know why in that instance, there was a couple times when I do that meditation and body scan. In my case, it was a single point body scan. So I was focusing on one body part and then just focusing on that until my nervous system went back to normal.
Yeah,
And it went back to normal, and then like my bladder went back to normal.
right.
Within that 2 hour span, it went back to normal. And I hadn't experienced that for a year. So
That's incredible. And you
I
know the
was
mechanics behind it, right? The
right,
mechanics are you're actually clearing out your mind. You're not paying attention to fearful thoughts. You're not
right.
paying attention to emotions of fear. Like you said, you're trading out fear for love. You're loving your body. You're being present. And yeah, your nervous system is like, it's safe now. It's
Hmm.
okay to just let go
Right.
completely. And that's what you're being led down in this spiritual path. Whether someone is spiritual, religious, they can do this anyway. The path of I trust and I let go of control. Because the thing is, control is an illusion. We don't actually have control of anything other than our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. We can't control everything else that's going to happen. It seems like we can. It's like if we plan everything, if we figure it out in advance, it should all work out kind of like I think it's going to. That's illusory. So when you know that, it's like actually anything could happen at any time. And that's also a beautiful part of life because we live in the unknown. If you knew
Mhm.
everything that was going to happen until you die, like it wouldn't be like the best life experience.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I love that you're
But
leaning into that. Yeah.
it was also unexpected though. I mean, because I know your holistic plan works, but with that, I was like, whoa, like just one meditation and here I am back perfect again. I
Yeah.
was I never expected to be able to really do that within hours. I mean, I thought it would take weeks and weeks.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
One thing
so
leads to the next, because you got yourself to a place where you believed it was possible. And maybe coming into the information I share or other people, it made you open to the possibility that these tools can really do that. Versus where some people start out in the Western medicine path and they're like, oh, I have to have some external therapy or medicine to get better. And so you made that shift. And now, yeah, you are open to that.
absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I'm thankful for your um program. I'm thankful for people like David Wise, like his book on headache in the pelvis. People that put this stuff out there on the internet, because without that, I don't know where I would be, probably getting surgeries somewhere. But thank God. Thank God for the internet and folks like you that put out that information. Because some people, it takes 20 years to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. No, I'm glad to be a part of it to help. And so what I would do in this case where you're at in your life, knowing that if a flare up comes up like this, whether it be penile pain or the urination stuff or something else, it could be like back pain or headaches. All these things are ultimately classified under something called mind-body syndrome. This is why I'm shifting the program a little bit, just to make it super clear. Like, not only does doing this work of calming the brain and the nervous system and rewiring it to safety, but also noticing emotions and states of being like anxiety and pressure and stress, all of that's creating a variety of possible manifestations. Unless you have a real structural issue, like you break your ankle, you have a
mhm.
tumor, like those are things you still want some help with. But for
Uh-huh.
the most part, most people are experiencing stress induced or emotional based disorders. So what I mean is that knowing like I'm totally fine. What I do is if I have something like this come up in my life now, I'm like, this is just mind body syndrome. My body is safe. What do I need to let go of right now? And for again, it's like for me, I know I need to let go of control. I need to let
Right.
go of putting pressure on myself. I need to let go of the fear, trade it out for love, relax a little bit more, and it'll clear out. There might be something too emotionally that I haven't allowed myself to feel. And this is important because sometimes things happen in our lives that create grief or anger or a variety of emotions. And if you don't express it or feel it in some way, it can get, lodged and stuck inside of you. And that can lead to an imbalance too, as well.
So one of my questions is, um, and this might be just like a worry state or just a negative thing to ask,
You can
but
ask anything.
due to the fact that I have been in this inflammatory state, due to the fact that I have been in this like fight or flight state, should I expect some medical issues down the line? Or should I expect, I mean, one of the greatest fears in today's day is cancer. I mean, like, should I be expecting more chances of cancer? Like what? I mean, hopefully the answer would be no, but I
The
don't know.
answer, the answer is that you are in control. What I say is never forecast your failure. So what that means is that this is a flare up. And literally you just got ready for a wedding, a marriage, major life changes, whether it be a marriage that seems like very positive, whether it be a divorce, a baby being born, like people dying in your life, people lost. All of these things can be triggers for neural circuits that weren't fully rewired, right? A pain, a dysfunction can come back online. But what happens is it comes up as a messenger. And actually see this as a protector of you and like, wow, thank you, pain. Like, thank you, dysfunction. Because if I didn't get this message right now, I was going to live in like fight or flight for the next couple of years, and it was going to be kind of awful on the inside here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a message for you to shift something. It's like, okay, relax some, calm down, everything's going to be all right. So what I mean is that don't don't get into that worry state or think that it's going to make things worse. Your brain wants to go there because it's thinking like worst case scenario. What I
Mm-hmm.
will say though, because I study mind body medicine a lot, if you stay in that worry state for like a long time, it actually can create diseases. It actually can lead to cancerous cells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it could create that if you like stayed there a long time, but you have the control to relax and trust.
And I think more importantly is the body's ability to heal. So
For sure.
just like you said, I mean, yeah, it can create some cancerous cells, but also there's some cancer fighting cells in there too that we can turn on if we have the right mindset.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, the body's always healing itself. The only thing that gets in the way are our thoughts and our emotional patterns. Otherwise, that's why if you go into like a deep meditation or you have a cathartic release and you cry and you let it all go, your body will heal itself. It's always trying to actually, because it's naturally intelligent by design.
so then if you, for example, I'm not wishing this upon you, but if you happen to have it to have a disease or anything like that, and let's say cancer, do you think new science would say like we can do something about that besides like something
Oh,
like radiation?
absolutely. Even cancer. So like I'm a big proponent of Dr. Joe Dispenza's material. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he has thousands and thousands of people doing his work that are healing from stage 4 cancer, MS, rare autoimmune diseases, things that modern medicine say you can't actually heal from. And it's happening. I've been to 4 of his events, so I've seen these things. I've met people. I've met people who almost died, who do his meditations, who do the work. They're not spiritual or esoteric, but he's showing the neuroscience behind it. He's showing quantum physics and epigenetics. What's taking place is that epigenetics means above genetics. In the past, people thought that your environment was influencing your genes. And also your family genetics were kind of stuck in stone. It's like, oh, my parents had this disease, therefore I have a high likelihood of getting it. What happens is that your internal state has the biggest play on this. This is why they've done a lot of studies of twins. Twins have the same genetic material, and one lives to be 85 and one dies at age 50 from cancer. And
Hmm.
it's not just where they're living, they like live in the same town. It's because one person, got a divorce and they got sad and they were in grief and they got depressed, and their internal state created a disease state.
Hmm.
So yeah, like if I ever run into something that even goes beyond, that does have a structural component, personally, if it's like dire and I absolutely need intervention, I'll get some help. But otherwise, I know the power of energy. I know the power of the mind. Psychoneuroimmunology is studying this. There are a lot of people. The mind influences the body. So what you think actually changes the biology. It upregulates the gene, which creates a healthier protein. Those proteins are the building blocks of life, which are literally rebuilding nerve damage, muscle tissue, all of the things that go wrong in a diseased state.
Right.
When you think about that internal healing, yeah, there's so much possibility now. And well, there always was. It's just that people are believing it more because we have some emerging science and it's being proven. So it's easier to believe in it.
Yeah, so like I'm thinking about a pastor of mine that lives in constant love, that just passed away recently, a famous pastor from pancreatic cancer. And I'm wondering, like, he spends his entire day just filled with love, giving to other people. And just, there's no time for stress. It's
Yep.
just a life of love. So I'm wondering, why wouldn't that person,
Yeah. That's a
why
great
wouldn't,
question. There are multiple levels to it. So for on the one side, even people who are like joyful and love, they might have a belief that this cancer has taken hold of them and that they don't have the ability within themselves to change it. So even people who are loving and joyful and in a positive state might think, I've got to fight this cancer. I need to go get chemotherapy. The studies, modern Western science says this about cancer. Their belief system has a lot to do with the outcome.
uh-huh.
I will also point out, though, there are people who are in incredibly beautiful states who even know that they have the ability to heal themselves and they still pass away from it. That's a long conversation. I believe that there is a lot involved at higher levels, whether you want to talk about God, you want to talk about other forces and why people's lives turn out the way that they do. And, I talk about these things a lot because they're interesting to me. But there is a reason for everything. There's something in the Hermetic principles called the law of causation, I think. For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. But the thing is, it happens at multiple levels. So we only see like in this lifetime what's happening around us. So I just want to point that out. Like it could be the belief system, it could be there's something even beyond that we're not currently aware of.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot going on that
But
we
I mean, I think you're a great example. I mean, like you said that you dealt with this for at least 5 years. And then here you are seeming to be very healthy. I mean, and then there's other folks that I know have gone through this, gone through years, 20 years, 30 years, and then are able to heal. So I have faith that, my body can heal and hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I'm putting these worries in my head already, but
No, your
of
body has healed. You've even felt like these beautiful days where you're just totally relaxed and normal. And the thing is, even if you have a day where you have a little bit of something going on, being okay with that and knowing that it's clearing out is important. But yeah, it's like letting go of the worry, letting go of the fear. Trading that for love and also trading it for knowing. I say things like, I am whole and complete. I am in balance and harmony. You could say things like, I am made in his image. If you want to look at a biblical reference, his image is whole and complete, not diseased.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. But let's see. I think so. I've had these enlightenment moments when I am stretching and or sorry, doing the meditations, doing the
Yeah.
um, single point scans. And I think these days I want to kind of move away from that because I think it's a little bit boxed in. To say that, for example, on my honeymoon coming up soon, that I would have to do that for 2 hours a day. I think what I want to move from is instead of doing that, just live in a state of love and giving and thanksgiving and everything beautiful about trusting in the present moment, not having too much control. I think that's what's more important. And that's kind of what you've led me to believe from the program. And I think I want to live more there and less stress, less worry, instead of boxing it in and saying, I have to do my stretches. I have to eat correctly. I can't drink alcohol. I
Mhm.
have to do these, meditations every day. I think
Right.
I want to unbox and just live.
That's what you need to do, James. That's what you need to do. That's what I want to do, even. That's what I want everyone to get to. The tools help you when you're in a really bad place.
Mhm.
And if you're like, hey, I'm feeling pretty anxious right now, it'd be good. I should meditate tomorrow, or I should do one tonight. Do it, because that's going to help you. But yeah, you want your life to be your meditation, you know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you're right
That's
on track, James. I think that you're turning a corner, and I can feel it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll update the group, but I think it's finally hitting that point where I'm putting it all together. It's taking a
Absolutely.
while. Taking a while.
Yeah, don't succumb to the fear. We're human beings, but you know the truth. So that's awesome, James. Thanks for chatting today. Let us know how it's going, okay?
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.